Now a sikha of the Rebbe from from Yud Aleph Nisan Tafshin Membeis 1982. This was the Rebbe's 80th birthday. The Rebbe shows us the power of aging in a way of adding in strength. That this is connected with emunah and bitochon and health, because the more we grow, the more it reflects in the physical body. That's going to be the point of the sichel. Ois Tazayin, after the 3 stars. When Hashem gives a person long days and life, so then the main purpose in this, person should increase and add and grow in all matters that are connected with his neshama. In other words, spiritual matters. That is the main being of a person. Skip the parentheses. Automatically, there will be growth and increase also concerning his body, which his body is only ancillary, auxiliary to his neshama. There are those people that have a question about this. And because of our questions, they reach an incorrect conclusion. And this incorrect conclusion that they reach is despite the fact that there's a simple answer for their question. What is the question? Yes, there are those that ask, the older a person gets, the more he matures. By nature, the power of the body, the strength of the body, weakens. How is it possible to say when Hashem gives a person long days, v'shanim tovos, and good years, that he needs to grow and to increase in all matters that are connected with the goal and the purpose of his health and his mission in the world? The question is, adrab, just the opposite. Since his physical powers and energy is weakened, he needs to decrease his effort in all of these spiritual endeavors that he's been doing. Therefore, because of this question, as a result of this question, they actually follow through in this type of resulting wrong thought. Like the custom is in this country, meaning the United States. When a person sees that according to his birth certificate, he's already close to 50 years old, and similar to that, he leaves all of his matters behind. He goes out to retire. And he becomes less active. This he becomes in anything having to do in being active and increasing in being a human being. That's the whole purpose of his creation. Now the Rebbe says a very interesting thing in the brackets. America is known for being a very energetic type of country. America is not about being laid back. America is founded on the principles that people, need to work hard and make something of themselves and so on. It's not a laid back, siesta type of country. So the Rebbe says this is even doubly difficult in the brackets. He mentioned this when people have this type of attitude to retire at an early age, when we live in such a country that's founded and based on this type of concept of working hard and so on. So let's go into the second paragraph. For this, we tell the person that has the idea that maybe when he reaches a certain age, he needs to retire. Adam la'amal yula, the person was born to toil. Hashem created man for a particular goal and purpose. To reveal godliness in the world. Skip the parentheses. Therefore, when a person sees that Hashem gave him an additional year after he reached the age of 50 or 60, etc., the very fact that he's living another year, this itself is an indication and a proof. He still has a particular mission to accomplish in the world. When he complains, he says he already toiled and he put in effort already many years, 50 years, 60 years, etc. Now he's earned the fact to just sit back and enjoy and to eat the fruits that grew through his service and through his toil. The Torah tells him, Torah Samus, Torah Chaim, the Torah of truth and the Torah of life. Today is meant to be done. Today is going on the life in this world, as opposed to Lemachar that's talking about when Mashiach comes. In other words, why, or even in Gan Eden, today means the time when he's alive. As long as the soul lives in his body, neshama, it's not to be the neshama you placed in me. It's demanded of the person la soisam to do them to increase and to accomplish fulfilling his mission in the world. That's the goal and purpose of his creation. Even after he reached the age of 50 years, skip the parentheses, or Shishim Shana, 60 years, skip the parentheses again with the Yotzbazet, etc. Not only is he not supposed to decrease in what the pasuk says to do them, to do the mitzvahs, to do his mission. But just the opposite. Since he matured when it comes concerning his body, how much more so he needs to mature and increase even more so concerning his neshama, because as we established earlier, the neshama is the main being and the main part of the person's existence. When we speak about the person's neshama, Mavin Kol Adam, normally every normal person understands Simchas HaNeshama, the joy of the neshama, which is also the purpose of the shiur about joy. What gives the neshama joy? It's not from increasing a little bit or a lot of silver and gold, or by increasing the delight of eating and drinking. Even when the eating and drinking or increasing in money is made in a kosher manner, or without any way, in any shape, form, damaging or hurting someone else while I'm making money. So he understands that that's not what brings joy to the neshama. All matters that are connected with the body are only secondary. They're only agents and intermediaries that through them will be able to be the joining of the neshama with the body. Then the neshama to fulfill its mission in the world, to reveal to fulfill its mission in the world, to reveal godliness in the world in such a way that they will go from strength to strength. When it comes to physical matters, Hashem wants that every Jew should have the physical things in the most comfortable manner. Like it says, He will feed you from the richest, from the fattest grain, wheat, and I will satiate you the honey coming out of a rock. How come? Why does Hashem want him to do that? Not because the neshama needs the physical good, but rather so a person should be able to live and fulfill his mission in the world without any concern and worries from a deficiency in physical matter. But that is not the goal. It's only a means. It's only the mutzah, like the Rebbe says before, to attaining the spiritual. But when it comes to spiritual matters, also a person may not rejoice in his portion and be satisfied and to be satisfied with what he accomplished in his earlier years. A person needs to increase in all these matters from strength to strength. This is how much more so. If when it comes to physical matters, a person has a nature that if he has 100, he wants 200. This is how it has to be, so much more so, and even a greater ratio when it comes to spiritual matters. Instead of one who wants 100, one who has 100 in spiritual matters wants 200. He wants in spiritual matters 1,000. But the Rebbe asks, but practically, this is all fine theoretically. What am I supposed to do? What is my neshama that's been another year and another day in this world wants to accomplish? But what about the physical body being incapable of doing so? The Rebbe says in Ois Zayin Avladayin Shaila, still the question arises: a person feels about himself that his physical powers are getting weak. While being 51 years old, etc. He doesn't have strength in his loins. In other words, he doesn't have the power and strength like he was when he was 30. Like it says in Pirkei Avos, 30 years old is for strength. How much more so when he reaches the age of 61? Even more than 61. So I don't feel as strong as I felt 30 years ago. How is the person capable of increasing in all his activities that are connected with fulfilling his mission in the world? In other words, the Rebbe established the premise why he has to increase. But now the question is, how does a person have the energy to be able to do so? The response to this, do according to the well-known expression. When a person is bound above, one doesn't fall below. There was a story of a mayor from Shlaner that once he was challenged to once there were certain people that saw him go up a mountain that was very rocky and difficult to be able to reach a mikveh, and they thought that they would be able to do the same thing just to show that he was not anything special, and they fell and they hurt themselves. Then they asked the mayor from Shlaner, how is it possible for you to be able to do it? So he said, if one is tied above, one doesn't fall below. So the Rebbe now is going to apply that concerning this issue about the weakness that one feels as the years go on. Though a person finds himself under the confines and limitations of time and place, and he has a limited body energy. Apple became still in all. When a person binds himself with Hashem, Jehu nimtza l'mayla, Hashem is found above, meaning l'mayla m'didav agbal is manu makim, beyond the measure and boundary of time and place. Umachli sheini yochel istapik ba'if navidasa b'milish l'chusish l'kadosh baruch hu at. He comes to the conclusion and he resolves that he cannot be happy and satisfied in the way he did his avodah in fulfilling the mission of Hashem, the way he did it up till now. He comes to the conclusion that he has to increase even more so in his bond above. So when a person comes to that conclusion that he needs to increase even more so in his bond to Hashem, so Hashem gives him the power and energy that's necessary for him. And therefore he is assured that he will not fall down below. So this means to say, though it seems to be that his physical energy has become lessened, this is only the way things look in his eyes of flesh. We're only looking at things from their physical perspective. One binds their physical flesh with the idea of above. Then we know when a person reaches the age of 80, which was the Yudalf Nisan, when the Rebbe said this, that was his 80th birthday. So then it is an idea of strength and might, like we say every Shabbos and davening, from the Pasuk in Tillim, it says, our days are 70 years, and if we're strong, if they're gvuras, so then we live to 80 years. So in other words, the Rebbe is saying that the Torah says that 80 years is a time of strength and power and might. Because this is the command of Hashem to be strong and to do his mission at 80 years old. Since Hashem commands us to act in such a way, surely he gives us the necessary energy for this. This is dependent upon how the person acts. This means when a person toils and puts in effort, and he doesn't hold himself back, he doesn't save himself from any bother and burden as much as he is capable of, to be involved in and to increase in everything that's connected with fulfilling his mission in the world. Then Hashem assists him to be successful in this in the appropriate manner. And simply put, Hashem creates the world and runs the world. So too, he also creates the person and he runs and he leads the person. Therefore, since Hashem established that the age of 80 years old indicates might and strength, moving it's understood that a person, it's incumbent upon a person to increase in his avodah in a way of strength. A person should not think that since there's an idea of being down here below, there's a possibility that there could be a descent, heaven forbid, in the matter of his avodah. Since after all he's bound above, Hashem assists him that he could increase in his service in a matter of strength and might. Now the Rebbe is going to add a very interesting point. It's not just that my strength in accomplishing my avodah is derived from my connection to Hashem, but my strength in doing my avodah is from the fact that I'm part of Klal Yisrael. And in Klal Yisrael, there is the power of the young as well. So by being joined and being part of Klal Yisrael, not an individual, I draw strength from others who are younger than me. Very interesting approach. Another additional thing to this. When a person binds himself with Hashem, so then that causes him to join other people that are around him. Like explained in Tanya chapter 32. When one thinks about the root and source of every neshama in the living God, all the neshamas match up with each other. And there's one Father for all of them. You say to Mizu even more so. Who knows the greatness and the quality of another Yid's neshama? Hainu, this means it's possible that Hashem is happy with another person, then how much he's happy of what I'm doing. So I'm moving from this to understood. When a person binds himself with Hashem, he's bound up above, like we spoke about earlier. He doesn't focus on himself as an individual. He also thinks about the community, he thinks about Klal Yisrael, and he's joined with the entire Klal. Similar to what it says about Moshe Rabbeinu, that Moshe Rabbeinu is the most humble person that was upon the face of the earth. Moshe Rabbeinu knew how great his quality was. He knew that Hashem took him out of, made him the messenger to take the Yidden out of Mitzrayim. He knew that he was on the mountain so much time without eating and drinking. He knew all of what he did. Still, in all sense, he knew that all these qualities are not self-made. These are qualities that were given to him by Hashem. Moshe Rabbeinu thought, if Hashem would give these qualities and advantages to another person, it's possible and it's likely that someone else would have put these qualities to better use than him. And even more so was Moshe Rabbeinu humble from every person, one would think, from every Yid. Admur Azakin Kosev, the Alter Rebbe writes in a Maimer from Tafkuf Samach Beis, skip the parentheses, Sheklolus Inyan HaNivus, the general idea of humility, Anav Ma'od Mikol Adam Shapnei Adama, he was the most humble from every person that's on the face of the earth. Hoi Gambi Yachas Lumas Olam includes and it refers to also the nations of the world. He was even humble in comparison to them. The Rebbe says in the brackets, this was said by the Alter Rebbe, a leader amongst Yidden, both in the revealed part of Torah, the sealed part of Torah. He wrote the Shemar, he wrote the Tanya, etc. Skip the brackets. So I'm moving for this understood. When a person connects with Hashem, then he joins all the people that are around him and with the entire humanity. That the entire humanity was created through our Father in heaven. That he created every person that's on the face of the earth. All human beings that throughout the entire world were created from Hashem's oneness and unity. Hashem is the God of truth. Let's skip over to a paragraph down. Therefore, the fact that he seems to him that his physical energy is getting less and less and decreasing, he's becoming weaker. This is only if a person looks at himself as an individual separated from the rest of humanity. When a person looks at himself as part of the entire klal, the entire humanity, that was created from Hashem's oneness. In other words, since Hashem is one and we were all created from Hashem's oneness, so we are all one as well. He sees that there's coming up and growing a new generation, a young generation. Those that possess fresh energy, renewed energy. And all this in the same body, meaning the same entity. In other words, the entire humanity is like one large and huge body, and therefore there is constant renewal in that body because there's always new growth in that body, new growth in humanity, new growth of people that are hitting their peak energy, despite the fact that I might be 80 years old. So therefore, if I am considering myself as part of the entire humanity, I am energized from the entire humanity. So and by making this general calculation, comes to the conclusion that year after year his energy is growing. Not just it's not decreasing, but it's growing. Since he's a part of the klal, the matz of the gvuras till he reaches a state where at 80 years old, that's when he's at a level of might and strength, like the pasuk says. And this is especially so. There's another thing that adds more strength to the person. When he considers the fact that throughout time and for the duration of his life, the person is increasing and doing good deeds. And these good deeds that he's doing, these are things that are everlasting. The Rebbe in the next paragraph explains when a person does something wrong, so those are not everlasting. And because the good deeds the good deeds that he's doing is everlasting, so then he impacts everyone else. So oidus asiyas ma'aseh tov, about the doing the good action, this becomes an everlasting inheritance. He impacts the entire humanity. In addition to the everlasting lot and inheritance that this good action that he does is for a person, as an individual and a specific person. Pisa movement, according to it's understood, corresponding to the directives of the Torah, there is no room for a person retiring involving decreasing in all matters that are connected with action. The Torah says that action is what's prime. And this directive is everlasting. The Torah is everlasting. For every person, in every time, place, and every time. This means throughout all the days of his life, all of the lechas mechayel, a person has to go from strength to strength. He has to increase in all matters that are connected with fulfilling his mission in the world. So a person shouldn't say, you know what, I'm going to be moisef now. A whole life I was active. Now I will increase. But my increase will now be in learning and study and intellectual pursuits. No, action is what's primary. And that's where the increase has to be expressed. Let's skip over the small two lines. When a person resolves and concludes to act in the above mentioned manner to increase And he actually fulfills this. The Rebbe says he is assured they'll be successful. I knew this means not only will be successful to increase in matters pertaining to thought and speech, he will be successful to increase also in matters that are connected with action. Since we're talking about an action that involves ultimate good, true good, which is something that's for the entire klal, as we said, that when a yid does a good deed, it's something that's for the entire humanity. In addition to the true good that is going to be for the individual and the specific person. Through this, he makes the scale come down and weigh down on the side entirely of merit. The entire world go down to the side of merit. Till we merit the good, the true good, and the primary good of the entire world. Fulfillment of what was foretold. Nisan Nigalu, Nisan Asinli Goil, and Nisan they were redeemed, and Nisan they will be redeemed in the future, and Mashiach will come in Nisan. Nisan, the Shnas Tavshim Beis, in the month of Nisan of the year Tavshim Beis, when the Sikha was said, Mishtachrim, Kol Bnei Yisrael, all Jewish people are freed. Va'yodam Kol B'ei Olam, and through the Yidden being freed, all inhabitants of the world become freed. Mikol Hamdidus Vagbolos, the Chol and Yom Hamavalvlim, from all constraints and limitations of matters that disrupt and disturb. And all humanity fulfills their mission in the world to serve them together as one, out of a true freedom of all matters that would disturb the mission that we're supposed to do. So this means to say, although we see in actuality that the world is shaking and trembling, until it's visible to those that do not believe that Hashem runs the world, that the world is standing before a general collapse. We know that the shepherd, which is Hashem, is great. That his will and wish, Hashem wants that the world should be acting in a manner of the world should be settled. And how does that happen? So the Rebbe says it's through remembering Hashem, and especially he's talking earlier about a moment of silence in the schools, through the fact that all inhabitants of the world, Maskos begins his day, with thinking into and remembering Hashem's reign. The one that creates the world and runs it, like we spoke earlier at length. And surely that the word of Hashem will exist forever. In other words, that the world will actually run in accordance with Hashem's will and wishes. Till we merit fulfillment of the promise that we will all serve him as well. And fortunate is the lot and the merit of every single one that will act in the above mentioned direction, to use their energy in a way of strength and might, to go from strength to strength in all matters of good, righteousness and straightforwardness. When every single person adds in the above mentioned manner, Hashem frees him from all of his worries, but and the only worry that the person has, because Hashem freed him from all other worries, he how to fulfill the mission of Hashem in the most highest way. Moving, it's understood, this concern, this worry is not a true worry. Yesh le betochen amiti b'Hakadosh Baruch Hu. He has true faith and trust in Hashem. When he wishes and he will be involved in this properly, surely he will be successful in this. This is the idea that we always speak about in Bitochon, that Bitochon is not just for something that we need in the physical realm, but the Bitochon is also in something that we need spiritual. Therefore, the beginning of a servant is in such a way that he goes out with a victory march. Like the Rebbe brings down from the other Rebbeim, that you see that soldiers, when they go out to war, they don't go out with sad song, but they go out with a march, a victory march, because that energizes them, and that right away at the beginning of their service, they do it in such a type of way. Like it says at the beginning of Kapitel that we say of the 81st year. In other words, the Kapitel Tilm that the Rebbe was trying to say, now that he turned 80, and the Chassidim would say, now he turned 80, it says, Haninu lalakimu zeinu, sing to Hashem our might. Again, strength, might. Since Hashem gives the power and might, uzeinu, our strength. To every single yid, to be able to fulfill his job and his mission. So therefore, his avodas out of joy and gladness of heart, that we are singing to Hashem, which is also very practical now before Pesach. That we sometimes it's very difficult to sing within the whole effort and work that we're doing preparing for Pesach. But when we know and we feel that Hashem is giving us the strength and the might to be able to accomplish what we have to accomplish in our avodah before Pesach, we sing Harninu l'Elokim Uzeinu. If maybe quite just like the Friedrich Rebbe brings, as a much like do the well-known metaphor of soldiers, like I said before, and when they go out to war, it's out of a victory march, like the custom is in the world. That Rebbe asked, seemingly it's not understood. What are they doing? Go out. What are they going out in a victory march? How's it possible to go out to war with a victory march? How can a handicapped person, a limping person, be as excited or as prideful as someone that's healthy? So the same thing over here. Since he doesn't know what's going to be, since the soldiers going out to war do not know what's going to be the result and the outcome of the war, how can they go march with a victory march? Again, the topic of Bitochon. The explanation behind this is to be victorious in the war, it is necessary to have strong trust that you'll be successful in being victorious in the war. I know this means the actual strength, the strong trust that he has in being victorious, that actually brings the victory. This is one of the stratagems of war that we teach every single soldier to be a true soldier. He's going from strength to strength, that he has to have his head screwed on straight. He has to be assured and confident in being victorious in war, like it expresses itself in going out to war with a victory march. And the victory ends up to be in the most highest way, to such a degree. He doesn't even have to go to war with things that are opposing and bothering and disturbing his fulfilling of his mission in the world. Because those things that are contrary to his mission become totally nullified. Like we say in Yashir, that the fear and will fall upon them. Why does this happen? Because he knows it's not the power and the strength of my hand, heaven forbid, that allows me to be victorious. They rather know that when they go out to war, they are going out with the great arm, the strength and might of Hashem. All of us ashlichus that Hashem placed upon the individual, the mission, to reveal godliness, the oneness of Hashem in the entire world. Even though the Rebbe was talking all about war, but he says all of this comes about out of true peace. Because all the individuals of the world act according to the directives of the Torah. Non-Jews concerning their 7 mitzvahs of Bnei Yisrael, and Jewish people concerning in regards to all the 630 mitzvahs of the Torah, that its ways are ways of peace, and all of its pleasantness and all of its paths are peace. And very soon we merit fulfillment of what was foretold. One nation should not raise a sword against another nation. They will smash and hammer their swords into plows or into shovels. Instead of using these type of tools for goals of war, they will use it to make it grow. The fatty wheat will move on. It's understood. This general idea that they will sing to Hashem our might. Avoid out of joy. It's connected and is associated with every Jew in an individual man. I knew this means this is the individual mission of every individual. In addition to the general mission of all inhabitants of the world. Like it says in the continuation of Kapitel Pei Aleph 81. It says, I am Hashem, your God in the singular, that takes you or took you out of Mitzrayim, in the singular. Indicating, skip the brackets, since Hashem took him out of Mitzrayim in the simple sense, in the literal sense, how much more so that he takes him out of Mitzrayim in the spiritual sense as well, and even more so. He has no obstacles and things that stand in his way, and again, concerning his mission in the world. Therefore, his avodah is in the way of singing, he's in the way of song. Let's skip over to the next page, Chaf Aleph. When his general avodah is in the way of singing to the Hashem, which is our might, like we said before, with a victory march, Zayin Nifal, Klolos in the Tikko B'Chodesh Shofar, that's affected the general idea that it says over there, also in that capital, that they will blow in the month, they will blow Shofar, that this indicates on the coronation of the King Hashem. Skip the brackets. It's affected the general idea that I will become a king amongst you concerning the Jewish people. Melech Yisrael, Hashem, was the king of the Yidden and his Redeemer. Alongside with this, the revelation of the kingship of Hashem, the entire world, reign over the entire world with your glory. Until the fulfillment of what's foretold, that all who did it and all who was made, not all who did it, all was made will know that you made it. Movements understood, Shekola and Yonim, Hamavalbulim is Batum Lagamri. All things that disturb and that are problematic totally cease. With the might of your arm, with the greatness and power of your arm, they'll become silent like stone. There's no need for a war whatsoever. that we effect this out of joy and gladness in heart. By days of poilim, Shemaim the matzav oilim kula yeh boifna masim. Through this, we affect that the state and situation of the world will be in the appropriate way. I'd koydem be as Mashiach tzidkenu, even before Mashiach's coming. The entire world becomes worthy and ready towards the state and situation that's going to be when Mashiach comes. So that Mashiach will run the world in the most elevated state. Like it says, he will judge in righteousness the poor, and righteousness will be his gartel. Along with all the foretold promises in the prophecy of the redemption, fulfillment of the promise that the wolf will live with the sheep. Let's skip over to the bottom of the page. The Hiratzin should be the will of Hashem. Through all the activities in the matter of strength concerning all these matters. Amurim Leil, that was said previously, we will merit to eat from all the foods of Mashiach's times, just like we have to eat on Erev Shabbos, we have to taste from the Shabbos food. Skip the parentheses, when we're still in the time of doing service, and the tasting will be immediately today, or very soon today, at least not later than tomorrow. Skip the parentheses again. And this tasting of what's going to happen in Mashiach's times will also increase the type of service that he does. The Rebbe says, because all of the promises, the Rambam explains that were promised for Mashiach's times, is to be able to enable us to be able to learn Torah and so on. And skip down to the last three paragraphs over here. All this will speed up and make quicker the best action, the main action, the most important, the most necessary, be a main whale in these days. When the darkness covers the earth and the strong darkness covers the nations, that Mashiach should come. Like it was told, like Mashiach said today, if you will listen to his voice, shall literally happen today. We should merit the fulfillment of what's foretold. Hashem will be for you a light of an everlasting light. We will go and bring others with us to go in the light of Hashem. A light that's connected with godliness. Speedily in our days, like the Rambam expressed himself, immediately they will be redeemed.